Welcome to the Farm to School podcast, where you'll hear stories of how youth thrive and farmers prosper when we learn how to grow, cook, and eat delicious, nutritious local foods in schools across the country.
And the world. Hi, everybody. We're your hosts. I'm Rick.
And I'm Michelle Markiston.
And today we're at what you call the Farm to School Institute of Oregon.
Woo!
The Oregon Farm to School Institute.
In the amazing Oregon Garden, an extraordinary location.
Yes, it's our state botanical garden here in Oregon. We've had many meetings here, but a Farm to School Institute, you might think, those of you listening across the country and across the world, what is that? And
we have great guests to tell us exactly what that's all about.
Exactly. And we have Melina Baker.
Melina.
Hello.
And we have Sarah Nealon.
Yay,
here.
Sarah.
So Melina, we're gonna start with you. We're gonna say hello. And what is this Farm to School? First of all, say hello. What's your role? What is your title? Let's start with that.
Okay. Hi, I'm Melina Baker. I'm the director of the Oregon Farm to School Network, which hopefully folks who listen to this know about. And if not, they should check us out and join our network. And we are here at the summer retreat, which is the kickoff for the Farm to School Institute here in Oregon. And the Farm to School Institute is a year-long professional development opportunity for school teams or district teams to participate in. So they get paired with a coach. They build a team. The team has administrators, child nutrition, educators, and community partners. And they come to the summer retreat to get started. It's a 3-day intensive where they get to build an action plan and a vision that then they'll work with their coach throughout the year to implement at their school or district.
So this started somewhere else. Could you tell us a little backstory on this?
Absolutely. This model started over a decade ago at Shelburne Farms,
Yay.
Vermont Feed. Yeah. And it has been so successful and had such an impact that has grown from Vermont to New England across the country now. So the USDA actually invested in Shelburne Farms and Vermont Feed, offering a program that they're calling the Adapters. And they really help state teams adapt the Institute to their state. So,
and you went there
went
through this process.
I did. A couple years ago, a joint team from the Washington State and Oregon State went together to get trained in the Institute model and talk about how we would adapt it here in the Pacific Northwest, because it hasn't come to the Pacific Northwest yet.
Okay, so my next question, I'm trying to lead into this for other states. Do they still do this in Shelburne Farms for other states?
They do. You can apply to become an adapter, and you can go and spend a week at Shelburne Farms, and you get to experience what their summer retreat looks like. But then you get some extra days too to get specific training on what happens in the behind the scenes for putting on an institute.
And so then you can recreate it in your local area like you're doing here.
Yeah, and it's really about adapting it. So there's core elements to an institute that you want to keep as like the foundation, but we have done some adaptations here in Oregon. Specifically, we've separated early childhood education from K-12. So we actually offer 2 different institutes, and we're alternating years. So this is a K-12 year. We're at the Farm to School Institute Summer Retreat. Next year, it will be the Farm to Early Childhood Education Summer Retreat, launching that. And that model is a lot different because it's just different needs of that community.
And it's so magical to be here with folks, but I'm wondering, what is the power behind this model? Like, why is this different than other trainings and things that we do?
Yeah, well, I can say why I brought it to Oregon and what I think about it. And then there's some other folks that I hope you'll hear from. But really, I feel like the power behind the Farm to School Institute is that it's really about integrating what we refer to as the 3 C's. I'm guessing you've talked about that on your podcast before, but it's the cafeteria, classroom, and community. And Farm to School works best when those things are all deeply integrated into a school culture and integrated with each other, like across the cafeteria, classroom, and community. So that's the foundation for why the Institute was designed the way it was designed. And I'm sure you've talked about it with your listeners before, but Oregon is a leader in Farm to School. We have done phenomenal work in providing like what I would say is a great breadth of support for our Farm to School community. So like we have non-competitive reimbursement grants that give schools and CACFPs like money to buy local food. No other state has that.
That's fancy words for you actually have to opt out of getting state funding.
Yeah, you don't have to apply. You get that money. So breadth, right?
Yeah.
But we don't have as much depth in terms of like supporting people to layer in that support for local food with what's happening in the school garden, with what's happening in the classroom and community. And so I think the Institute is just like the next layer of what the support that we want to offer our farm to school community here.
Amazing.
And you've done this. This is your second year doing it here. So you have what you call Seedlings. Can you tell about that? And
Yes. So we added an element this year called the Seedling program, which is for folks who wanted to participate as an institute team, but couldn't quite have all the components there to build a full team for their school or district. So the Seedling program is for individuals or pairs from a school or district so that they can understand the institute better and make a plan for building their team so they can participate in future years.
get what she did there, Michelle, Seedling, starting out. It's pretty awesome.
I have to give props to Ren Huff, our operations manager, for naming that program.
I would just like to claim that I hired Ren initially for my team and gave her to Melina. So you should be forever indebted. She's wonderful.
Rick follows every HR rule.
Yes.
I am deeply indebted.
Yeah.
And we're fortunate today to have one of the first cohorts of Seedlings here. And we wanted to introduce you to Sarah. Sarah, will you tell our listeners who you are, some of your background, and what's your experience so far?
Yes. We were just saying that we go way back from when I was a food corps service member in 2014, 2015.
Which at the time of this recording is 10 years. Thank you, Sarah, for your service and all the extraordinary things you've done in the meantime. It's really made an impact.
Thank you. Yeah. So I am here officially as a CTE, a sustainable agriculture teacher, representing my school, McDaniel High School in Portland, Oregon. So PPS school. But like in those 10 years, I've kind of worn a lot of the different hats of at least the classroom, the educator part of the institute. So I've been a garden educator. I've been a curriculum consultant for food corps, writing the food corps lessons with Erica Curry and Whitney Cohen. And so it's kind of a cool place to be a seedling, like a little wee seedling. And then also though, like be here with kind of a lot of the background. I was on a panel and I just like holding both of those roles because I feel that way.
So what does that mean in your experience to be a seedling within the Institute model?
Yeah. So my colleagues, so we have at my school, we have 1.5 FTE for sustainable agriculture. So we teach intro to food processing, intro to sustainable agriculture, and then urban farming. Anyway, so we're a CTE program. My colleague is with me, Kelsey Madison. So we were lucky enough to be here to have the opportunity to be Seedlings because we weren't like able to sort of sufficiently prod our admin. I mean, Kelsey, I think, made a good faith effort when the application first came out to be like, hey, you want to do this? And our cafeteria manager was like, yeah, sure, cool. But, admin are busy and we didn't kind of necessarily follow up with them. And so we were like, oh, cool. Okay, another time, I guess.
Well, it's a commitment, isn't it? I mean, it's not just like, come to a retreat and have fun. You have to commit to doing stuff for the whole year and reporting back. And
Yeah, but we're hoping, now that we've been here, we already have like all of these people that we're like, but they've expressed interest in our program. And, as far as like paraeducators and there's one vice principal that we have our eye on that we're like, he's supported us enough and he cares enough that I think now that we've been here and like seen, what the other established programs are doing.
That is so important. Like I've seen programs fail that has a on-fire school garden coordinator, but that's it. And so if you have a whole team, if you have an admin there with you and they're all building together, your chances of success are so much better, I think.
Yeah. So it's pretty cool that, I think we're like institutionalized in the sense that we literally are FTE like educators, right? And so we have that part kind of down. But it's kind of, I feels like one of those things where everyone's like, okay, cool, you're doing that. And so we don't even have to worry about it necessarily. Like there's no farm to school sort of culture at our school. And especially as a high school, I think it's kind of a different vibe. But to be part of the Seedlings, is really cool because we're kind of sitting. Honestly, it's a bit, I'm happy that y'all asked me to talk about it because it feels like such a special little thing in its burgeoning infancy, and to be a part of it like right now feels really special because, it's all of these different people from different geographic places in Oregon and wearing all the different hats. And so it's really cool to be sitting next to like a wellness coordinator at our table, and, like a food systems something or another, like all these other people that play different roles. Because what we're doing is kind of just talking to each other about how to activate once we get back to school, as opposed to making our plan, like we're not making the plan without the other key stakeholders, but hearing the pitfalls and the roadblocks for other folks, it's just like really illuminating. In other words, like we had, we hear someone saying, and then there's that random high school that does ag stuff, and I just need to connect with them like a district person. And it's like, oh, we're that, except we need to get our district person to pay attention to us. Like we can see, it's like almost like seeing the other perspective of like why we're not all necessarily connected yet.
Yeah, I think, one of the foundational pieces of the Institute model is building what they call a cross-sector team, right? That admin, child nutrition, education perspective. So you have all those 3 C's at the table. And when folks are interested, but they weren't able to build that team, we really decided to focus that Seedling program on giving them ideas and tools and a plan so that when they go back to school, they can start building those relationships so they have a team maybe in future years to come to the Institute. So curious how that feels for you, Sarah.
Yeah, I think it really definitely feels so much more doable. And I think that today is like one of the, we haven't done sort of our key, now make your action plan for next steps, but we've been in doing all of the sort of ideating and brainstorming. And so I'm feeling super hopeful that we can be here, fingers crossed, next year as a whole team.
Well, that leads into what I was just going to, okay, she's a seedling. Great. She's going to come back next year. What's the fancy term that she's going to be next year if she's not a seedling?
Well, she'll be an Institute team.
Okay.
And she can come as a school or a district, probably for a big district like PPS, you'll come as your school. If you're a smaller rural district, then you can come as a whole school district.
Just word of advice. I think you need to work on the catchy title. Seedling is cute. And then
you think they should be
team,
we're all about branding.
Transplant.
We're all about branding.
I don't know. But anyway,
I guess I'm a CSA box.
There you go.
What is it going to be?
I don't know. But I'm really fascinated by this because here in Oregon, we've been working for 20 years to institutionalize this. And the idea was connect the cafeteria, classroom, and community to institutionalize it. But now we're talking to someone who is institutionalized. She's actually an educator doing exactly it. Do you really need? And the cafeteria is doing its thing. Portland Public Schools Nutrition Services is knocking out of the ballpark local procurement and promoting it. And there's lots of social marketing. And do you actually need a team to do any more?
I'd love to hear what Sarah has to say, but I think the idea of the Institute is integrating more what's happening in the classroom with what's happening in the cafeteria with maybe what community partnerships are happening, like if there's farm field trips or, connections with community partners. So not just institutionalizing, like you're saying, Michelle, where there's a position like Sarah's, which is a huge success, but also building that school culture around how everything is connected and part of the value system of the school or school district.
I'd like to throw in too, at the local level, like you mentioned, Michelle, Portland Public does a great job with institutional food purchasing and stuff. But on the local level, at the school level, like the school garden and thing like that, we're still missing the boat, I think, statewide. And that's where we need to integrate that.
Yeah. So. And I think and just to kind of promote what we do, but also kind of pitch to what we need. Like at my particular school, it's we have this amazing garden. We have a greenhouse. We have 1.5 FTE devoted to food and garden education. So amazing. It feels like such a privilege. But then, I'm first and foremost a classroom teacher that has to focus on my students' education and well-being, attending IEP meetings, et cetera, et cetera. To have more people holding this really important work and to have more people investing in it. And in other words, we have a wonderful relationship with Chris Walters, our cafeteria manager. He's awesome. I can be like, hey, we're going to harvest lettuce later on. Can we bring some? And he'll put it on the salad bar. He'll make his own little, flyer about it. But it's always just so kind of last minute or hectic so it's just kind of like to have spaciousness to actually sit down with Chris and be like, these are our goals. Like, what if we had a weekly da-da-da, or you gave us a list and we could actually grow for, honestly, just to have the spaciousness with Chris would be like well worth it to be a team. But then to have one of our VPs and like for them to just again, spaciousness to talk about this stuff and be like, oh, that harvest fest that the RJ coordinator's been trying to put on, like, why don't we, make that a more, I think there's just there's so many little points where I feel like we could really lift up this work. And so that's my pitch for why.
Yeah. And there's a reason that we call this the summer retreat as the kickoff to the Institute. It's not a traditional conference. We have some skill building workshops, we have some field trips, but we have a lot of time for teams to work together with their coach to actually have those conversations and build their action plan. They are doing work here in a supportive, beautiful, environment where they can feel inspired and work together in a way that they cannot do usually during the school year.
Okay. So we've heard about those teams, and we've heard from Sarah and a seedling point of view. But wouldn't it be great if we had some more people like in their second year that could say, okay, we were a seedling and now here's what we've done, and wouldn't that be cool?
Yeah. I mean, you won't find people who were seedlings because this is the first year we've done it, but you'll find teams that have participated in our first ever Farm to School Institute here in the Pacific Northwest. And you can talk to them about the impact that it's had at their school or district. So there's a couple, I think, here that are excited to talk to you.
Okay.
All right.
Well, thanks, Sarah, so much for joining us. We really appreciate you making the time.
Such a pleasure. Thank you.
Happy growing. We have two folks from a Farm to School Institute team. Could you please introduce yourselves and tell us where you're from?
I am Asher Guile. I'm a student in Mapleton High School, kind of closer to the coast. I work in the garden. I'm now a senior, but I've been working in the garden for 2 years. I just play a role in helping water and helping plant a lot of the stuff that goes on in the garden.
And so you're a team member of the Institute. What is your experience here so far?
Here?
Or just being on the team?
It's different. I'm learning a lot here, actually. A lot of different stuff and a lot of different, plants and ways to teach, actually. That's cool. I'm not a big teacher, considering the fact that I'm still a student, but a lot of the younger kids do look up to me, and I would imagine a lot of the younger kids are going to be going into the garden.
And who else is here to join us?
I'm Stephanie Grijalva, and I am a teacher in the Mapleton School District.
Okay.
What do you
do there? What do you do? What do you teach?
Well, we have, our district is really small. We have about 150 students, K through 12.
Oh, wow.
And so almost all the teachers wear a lot of different hats. So primarily I'm an art educator, but I'm also teaching English. I'm the talent and gifted coordinator. And then my connection here to the Institute is that I teach a culinary project-based learning class. It's a 70-minute block of time in the afternoon. And so I'm here wearing my culinary hat.
Oh, so tell us more about that. Do you work in any of the farm to school stuff to the culinary program?
That was part of our goal setting for last year, and we're definitely getting closer. One of the things that we did this year is we hosted 2 community dinners. Students designed the menus. They added in produce from our garden. They served, cooked, did the whole thing. And then we were able to get a lot of feedback from the community. Some of our families, like 15 families at a time. And that's something we're going to continue into next year. So it's a way, creating community is a really big piece of what we're trying to do at Mapleton. And so, the culinary is just one part of the program. Asher represents the gardening side. And the Farm to School Institute is a really beautiful way to kind of integrate all those different paths.
Okay.
So can you paint a picture for us of what is it like to be at the Institute?
Well, this is my second year, and I came with our very supportive superintendent, Sue Wilson. And so we have that admin support and we have several new team members. So this is a really beautiful way to recenter ourselves, look at our goals again, develop our action plan, and also acknowledge our successes and our growth. We did the rubric for the Institute kind of shows in those 3 C's how you're growing. Are you developing? Are you emerging? Are you getting closer to thriving? And what was really cool this Institute is we were able to really see that we have measurable progress. Last year we were developing, emerging in almost all areas, and we saw growth across the board just in 1 year of working with the Institute. And so this provides us a space for all of us to get together and reevaluate our goals, create a new action plan, and pull in our new members so that everybody's kind of on the same page as we move forward into the school year.
Can you provide us with an example of what does growth within the cafeteria look like?
Like in the cafeteria, is our garden food getting into the cafeteria? Well, we have our hydroponics in our school, hydroponics in each classroom and one big one in the hallway of the school. So there's always salad and stuff growing in the hydroponics. So kids always have access to salad and stuff, but we are still working on getting our garden produce into our cafeteria right now. Some of it's getting into the culinary class, I'm pretty sure, which is just big step itself, And then with the community dinners and stuff, never mind. I don't know where I was going there.
Well, actually, I think you were going with my next question, because I was like, well, what about the others? What is examples of growth in each of those areas?
For the community dinners, I think that's a big part, because getting the community together and them all seeing how it's growing and stuff. The community all wants to be a part of it, whether it's distributing stuff for the garden or whatever, that's a big part. The community is really cool in Mapleton. They all want to come together to help the school grow and their kids to learn.
How big of a community is Mapleton? Is it, do you have one stoplight? Is it
one
really,
store, one gas station?
Okay.
We got a church, a library, a school.
Sounds very
and
small.
Then Florence is how many miles away?
15 or so.
Yeah.
Okay. And you're about 45 minutes from Eugene?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So the big city. Okay. Yeah. All right. So I'm just trying to get a picture. So yeah, when you talk about community, it's, it's a small little community. I got it. Okay.
And Asher, I think you're one of the only high school students I have seen on a team.
Yeah.
Yeah? What's that like?
I noticed that. I'm the only kid I've seen here.
What's that like being in this setting for you?
I mean, it's kind of different. It's not a big deal. I like learning, so that's cool. I've learned a lot of different stuff. I'm sure I already said that since I've been here, but yeah, it's definitely a big learning experience, and it's kind of different. I don't really travel too far away from my hometown. I like kind of staying in my own little area, but no, it's a big learning experience, and yeah.
I was going to say you get out of school, but it is summer. I keep reminding myself it's summer break now. So bummer, you're kind of back in school. Sorry.
Well, I think we really advocated for Asher to be a part of our team, because part of our philosophy at Mapleton is that all of our experiences should be student-led and student-centered.
Yes.
And so you can't make the decisions you're making at the Institute without student voice. And so having the ability to have a student here, one of our leaders, I think is really powerful, because they can take that information back with them, and we're providing them with agency, and our program has more sustainability, I think, if it's in the hands of the students.
Thank you for providing that. I think that's a great model. And especially when you have a student voice, like if you have a school board presentation, they don't want to hear from adults. They love to hear from a kid. Anytime you bring a student, no matter what age, hey, you want to talk to the school board, they're all ears and they really like listening. So it's really valuable.
And what are some other ways that your district is lifting up youth voices, student voices?
I mean, like we see that with each of our project-based learning units, like we have construction and gardening and culinary and business and media. So the really cool thing is that the Farm to School Institute provides a link for us all to kind of plug in the same way. And the students really are the leaders. Like in project-based learning, you really want students at the center. So all of those areas have their student leaders, and they kind of push the program together and forward.
All of our PBLs kind of do plug together in a way, like whether it's media, taking pictures of our garden and the growth in our garden, and then culinary, taking whatever foods we grow and or can give to them, and then construction, they help out with a lot of the materials to build planter beds or whatever, So kind of just all goes together in a way. We're going to try getting our business PBL into helping us. What were we planning? The business PBL help us get
like marketing plans, and the idea that we're hosting a farmers market for the second year, and so the idea that the business students could create an action plan for how we sell our produce, or how different artists in the community can come together.
Pricing, marketing, probably distribution.
Exactly.
Oh, that's so neat. I'm just your community seems small. That's what I'm hearing. And tight-knit and very supportive, and you work really well together. I'm curious, what's the benefit then of coming to an institute? Like, you all had to travel really far, you stay overnight. What would be the benefit of this model for you?
Well, a lot of it would be just us all coming together, like, and talking about it, or our team here, our Mapleton team, all coming together and talking. And we haven't really all got together like this. And I mean, maybe sure separately, like just me to Sue or whatever, but not all of us together yet. And that helped us out, seeing all of our opinions. And
I would add to that if we're interested in sustainability, and we need to have a really clear action plan, and the Institute provides that framework for us to create really clear goals, and work toward those goals with check-ins throughout the year to make sure that we're all on the same path still, or what challenges are we facing. And so it's a system and a structure that allows for greater success.
that's the words I was looking for, kind of just a bigger view of what's going on,
Is there anything else you'd like to tell our listeners that we haven't asked about yet?
Keep on gardening.
Yes.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what the future holds for you guys, and invite us down when you have a farm to school event or something.
Okay, awesome.
We'd love that.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Stephanie, Asher, thank you both so much for joining us today.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Thank you.
Farm to School was written, directed, and produced by Rick Sherman and Michelle Markiston, with production support from Leanne Locker of Oregon State University. The podcast was made possible by a grant by the United States Department of Agriculture.
The content and ideas of the Farm to School podcast do not necessarily reflect the opinions of Oregon State University or the United States Department of Ag. USDA and Oregon State University are equal opportunity providers and employers.
Do you want to learn more about Farm to School? Check out other episodes, show notes, contact information, and much more by searching Farm to School Podcast OSU.
Yeah, we'd love to hear from you. Stop by that website and just give us a hello or an idea for a future podcast. Thanks again, Stephanie and Asher.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you, Melina and Sarah, too. Thanks. We'd like to thank all of our guests.
Keep on growing.
Yes.